there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Green Umbrella's annual meeting. I'm Ryan Mooney-Bullock, the Executive Director of Green Umbrella, and I'm going to pass the ball over to Green Umbrella's Board President, Andy Holtzhauser, who's going to kick us off tonight.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome, welcome at our another effort of putting on a great event with a lot of great people, talking about a lot of great things without actually seeing everyone in person. So I love the fact that we've got so much to talk about, even in the year or now two that we've all dealt with in so many ways. Yet also in so many ways, our region sort of rallies together when it comes to all things environment and sustainability. I do have a prop above me, my own Green Umbrella. It could crash. It is not a professionally designed prop. So to the extent that that happens, I apologize in advance, but I'll keep rolling through here for just a couple of minutes to kick us off. So first, to my fellow board members on the line, my pleasure to serve with you. It really is. I mean that genuinely, and to the great staff with Ryan that does the good work every day. I enjoy it. It's a privilege to be here and to share a little bit with you in kicking us off. You know, we're growing as an organization. Our region is growing. It's in its environmental and sustainability impact, despite everything around us. And so I'm an accountant by training, and so bear with me, because I do appreciate being able to share with you some views of our growth measured by numbers, and then I think Ryan and other team members will share a lot of the subjective views of growth by virtue of impact and all the important programs and opportunities that we're seeing in the marketplace. You know, as we look to next year, our staff is going to be at 14 or 15 FTE, nearly double what it was just 2 years ago. And so the staff works overtime to get work done. We have twice as many now than we did 2 years ago. That means more than twice as much impact because of the multiplicative impact of everything that we do in the community. So you can look at it that way and be very proud of what we have going. And by the way, you know, so many of the staff is just focused on trying to help enable so much of the good work of our members and of our partners. So that means that there are so many other people contributing to that growth, which really says a lot about what's happening in our region. And then when you look to, when you look to this year and beyond, for the last couple of years, we've seen 20 to 30+% year-over-year annual revenue growth. And again, with that comes impact. And so we have been able to position the organization for growth with your engagement, your support, in a way that I don't think a lot of other organizations, for-profit or nonprofit, have been able to over the last 18 months or 2 years. So a lot to be very proud of. And then what I like to say, and I'm often extremely proud of the fact that Green Umbrella was an accelerator and an incubator of ideas before that was a thing, before it was defined, before it was as prominent, I think, in our community and in our marketplace as it is today, with all of the efforts of the many different organizations from Centrifuge to UC and NKU and Xavier in Miami and so many other organizations and what they're doing to start up and incubate ideas and efforts. I've long felt like Green Umbrella has done that for a long time and continues to do it. And so this year alone, when you look at what we've sort of really hatched, 1 year ago, we approved formally Common Orchard coming into Green Umbrella, and Green Umbrella being able to assist with its continued growth. And so we're now a year in the books with a lot more opportunity on the horizon. And that's a big deal, and yet another example of how we've been able to take a young opportunity and help it further spread its wings with continued opportunities beyond this. Our climate policy work is keeping us as busy as ever as well, and you'll hear more about that as we continue. There are other efforts in which we're the fiscal agent. We are also continuously challenging you all, our members, our partners, our stakeholders, our friends, to never be shy. There's Flywheels Social Enterprise that had a great kind of accelerator that Green Umbrella and others participated in and supported to hatch ideas. But whether you're on an action team or just here today and you're sitting on an idea, it doesn't matter if you're thinking about it from a for-profit or nonprofit perspective. Hopefully we provide you the forum or the connectedness or the network or whatever you need to find an outlet to externalize that idea, to find a way for you to be comfortable sharing that idea with others. And then let's work on seeing what's possible. Let's work on not being afraid of some additional barriers, but rather working over, overcoming those and seeing what can happen with that idea, whether it grows up and through Green Umbrella, or whether you simply find that the network outside of Green Umbrella to be able to make it a reality or grow it to something larger. So continue to keep those ideas coming. There's never a shortage of them, but we should always be, I think, challenging ourselves to put them forward as well. And, right in theme with all this, Green Umbrella even now has their office sitting in Centrifuge, in one of our region's kind of central startup incubators and accelerators. And so that alone, the presence alone of being in a place where there are always a lot of ideas flying around could provide even more benefit for how Green Umbrella works hard to grow new ideas. And at the end of the day, as a collective impact, as a backbone organization for the environmental and sustainability world in our region, always looking to find ways of expanding that impact. We are in the process as well, coming into the next year, of being able to expand our core staff. When we're able to expand our core staff, that has a direct impact on being able to expand the great things that Green Umbrella are currently doing right now. And so we're really focused on investing in the organization in 2022 to then be able to have those team members, current and future, work even more with you all in support of programs, in support of initiatives, and in support of some of the new and emerging ideas that we have. As we shift into the program, I don't want to go too far before I say a couple of thank yous to a few fellow board members. First of all, Doug Studer stepped off the board this year after 4+ years of his service. Doug is the retired CEO of Desky, and he's the founder of Blue Earth. He's also a huge biomimicry proponent and always brought a lot of wisdom to our meetings based on how nature does things, based on the way that we interact with nature. He provided a great example of a board member leveraging the resources of his organization to support our organization, to support Green Umbrella. He recruited one of the longest standing members of the communications committee, his colleague, Doug Savannah. He also, over the years, has been pivotal in revamping sort of the branding and the visual identity of our organization and its programs. And he probably had the highest attendance of anyone in the Green Drinks events. So he likes to have a good time socially as well. And there's a lot to be said. There's a lot of good work that gets done. Maybe a few good drinks get done there too, but a lot of good work gets done there too. We will miss Doug's presence on the board. We certainly wish him very well in his retirement. So thank you, Doug. And then also Julie. Julie is not aware that we're giving her a little special thank you. Julie is a current board member. And boy, we found Julie. Julie found us at just the right time, where she came into a position professionally where she had the opportunity to invest more of her time in nonprofit boards. And we're so grateful that Green Umbrella was in the right place at the right time. She has gone above and beyond. She has given so much time in her service as our communications chair. Hopefully you've seen as much communications coming out of the organization this year as ever, and she's been in the middle of it all. She has worked with staff throughout the year to address to draft press releases and op-eds. She edited progress reports, helped us craft fundraising messaging. And I know that the entire GU team and her fellow board members just really want to give her a special thank you for all of her dedication and support. So that's it. I'm done. Have a fantastic 44 minutes, lots to cover. I'm so grateful to be with you all, and I can't wait to see you in person. But until then, we'll have a good time doing it this way. So very happy holidays to you all, and let's have some fun for the next 45 minutes. Take it away, Ryan.
Hey, good to see you all. My name is Ryan Mooney-Bullock. Again, I'm the Executive Director of Green Umbrella, and I'm so excited to be here tonight. Thank you, Andy, for that awesome introduction and really just setting the stage for our time together. And as you mentioned, you know, the Green Umbrella, Charlie, if you could go back a slide or to the top slide, that'd be great. Thank you. In the past 2 years, Green Umbrella has ramped up and expanded its programs, even in the midst of the pandemic. We're seeing our work produce benefits across climate impact and preparedness, equity, and environmental quality. We now have full-time staff dedicated to building local government capacity to address climate policy, expanding access to outdoor learning and play for students in public schools, and creating pockets of green space and food production in food insecure neighborhoods. These new programs join and intersect with our longstanding Food Policy Council, Tri-State Trails, and Cincinnati 2030 district programs, as well as the Green Space and Faith Communities Go Green impact teams. We have laid a strong foundation of cross-sector collaborations towards shared goals, and we're seeing real impacts across the region. You're going to hear about some of those this afternoon from all of our program leads. Now, if you've been involved with Green Umbrella for a while, I imagine you know that our collaborative work is only as impactful as the network that's working together to make it happen. I appreciate all of you being members of Green Umbrella. That's why you're here. And I want to give an extra shout out to our board members, our initiative leadership teams, our impact team members, our 2030 district members, community partners, and professional partners. Thank you so much for stepping into leadership where your skills, expertise, and connections are put to work every day. In the coming year, we anticipate even more opportunities and needs emerging in our shared work than ever before. We seem to have hit a critical threshold in terms of public awareness of and demand for collaborative cross-sector work that is shaping our region into one that is equitable, resilient, and sustainable. With the incoming Cincinnati City Council and Mayor, the majority of whom campaigned on platforms relevant to our work, a new City Council committee focused on climate, environment, and infrastructure, and the renewal of the Green Cincinnati plan on the horizon, there is so much possibility for action in the coming year. But that's just in the city of Cincinnati. As you'll hear later, we are expanding our efforts across the region to make sure that all local governments, no matter their size, location, or staff capacity, can work to reduce their climate footprint and prepare their communities for the effects of climate change, protecting the health and economic security of their most vulnerable residents. The Regional Climate Collaborative we're launching in 2022 will support these local governments and connect them to all the best practices that you all have been developing and living out, working collaboratively on with us, the innovative ideas, the resources our entire network has been building over the years. We really see all of this work coming together from so many different areas and think that the momentum is just going to continue. We're already actively collaborating with many of your organizations, sometimes working on funding proposals together, trying to collectively tap resources, create efficiencies to help all of us work better together. And we anticipate the possibilities for shared work expanding significantly in the coming years with the federal focus and funding related to climate, infrastructure, environmental justice, and more. If you haven't already, I encourage you to reach out to the Green Umbrella staff in the coming months to share what's on your organization's mind and how you see yourself connecting into our collective work. Or share an idea of something you're doing that needs our support and advocacy, or even just a connection to the right person to make it happen. So this afternoon, each of our staff-led programs is going to spend a few minutes updating you on what they have accomplished this year and what's coming up next year. We hope this will whet your appetite to learn more and get engaged in new and deeper ways. And at the end of the meeting, please stick around because we're going to head over to this cool tool called Spatial Chat for some fun virtual networking. Before I hand it over to my colleagues, though, I want to share a couple of updates from two of our impact teams, the two that are not staffed by a Green Umbrella team member. All right, so our Green Space Impact team reached a huge milestone this year with the launch of the Environmental Mitigation and Suitability Modeler, which it has been developing for several years. This project was truly a group collaborative project that tapped the expertise and insights and decades of experience of the Green Space team, and also married it to a lot of technical expertise that OKI, particularly Margaret Minsner, was able to bring to the work. It's kind of a niche tool, but if you're somebody who really thinks a lot about conservation, where smart development can happen, we encourage you to go check it out at oki.org/mapsapps. You can find it there. And it's one of the neat things about it is that it's combining data layers that connect environmental justice, health indicators, natural features, endangered species, really like anything you could imagine that you would want to know about a property. You can develop a customized view to look at the region from your lens and identify priority locations for environmental mitigation activity, as well as land protection. The Green Space team also recognized and promoted 12 more Green Space Gems, which are the final installments in the 40 Green Space Gems they have recognized over the past 4 years for their outstanding scenic value, biological diversity, scientific importance, or historic interest. So the next time you're looking for a new natural place to explore, maybe sometime over winter break, check out the full list on our website. In early 22, the Green Space team is going to be conducting a planning process to figure out its next steps. So how can it best leverage the resources it has developed, and what's the action plan for future collaborative work? If you're interested in getting involved in that, please reach out to Andy Dickerson at the Cardinal Land Conservancy and get on his list. All right, next slide, please. Our Faith Communities Go Green had a really active year with a focus on really connecting to, learning about, and providing education for an expanding network of diverse religious congregations. They just celebrated their 1-year anniversary in September and grew the group from 88, to like 200 participants in that year. So right now they have about 15 different religions or denominations represented, who make up 50 to 60 different houses of worship. And those 220 participants, over 50 of whom are highly active and extremely dedicated. Just to give you a big picture view, the Faith Communities Go Green team is really focused on partnering with religious communities to create a more sustainable and equitable future for all by mobilizing their moral voice to reduce the risk of catastrophic climate change. Next slide. They do their work through 3 working groups: advocacy, education and lifestyles, and facilities, which each focus on those different things. The advocacy team is really tuned into doing policy research and creating policy platforms related to sustainable clean energy, clean air, water, soil, and environmental justice. And they have been working on putting together action alerts to let their network know when legislation is before legislative bodies that could use their advocacy. And one of the thoughts here is that elected officials like to hear from folks within the religious community, but they don't always hear from them about these issues. So how can we raise awareness of these issues within the faith community and encourage them to contact the folks who represent them? The education and lifestyles team is really focused on helping congregations think through how they can incorporate sustainability and climate action within how their congregation does things from an educational standpoint, and also to pass that information out to the folks who go to that congregation. So they did an eco challenge this year, and they've been developing resources to support those communities to talk to their congregations about these issues and get them to take personal and congregation action. And finally, the facilities team is also educating the community around what congregations can do to reduce their carbon footprint And their results this year, they had 4 congregations who started the process of either taking action or planning what they could do to reduce their emissions. All right, we are going to now hear from each of our staffed programs on their highlights from 2021 and what they have coming up for next year. First up is Savannah Sullivan, our climate policy lead.
Thank you, Ryan, and thanks everyone for joining today. I'm Savannah, the climate policy lead, and as Ryan mentioned, our climate policy work is dedicated to working with regional, local governments to help kickstart and accelerate climate preparedness. I've been on the job for a year and have seen tremendous levels of interest and action. So I'm excited to give you a quick update on what I've been up to and how Green Umbrella is supporting this groundswell. Next slide. First, we're enhancing regional coordination by laying the groundwork to launch a regional climate collaborative, which is a network for local government and partner organizations to share information, collaborate, and create a regional climate action playbook. The map to the right highlights existing collaboratives across the country, and we're fortunate to have participated in the Institute for Sustainable Communities Regional Collaboration for Equitable Climate Solutions pilot program, which is preparing us to be the next generation of these collaboratives. Next slide. We also strive to center equity in all that we do and provide opportunities for local governments to do the same. To that end, Green Umbrella is serving equitable solutions from cities across the country to support the next Green Cincinnati plan. And we've partnered with Groundwork Ohio River Valley and the city of Cincinnati to design and launch a climate advisory group process, which is a community engagement model for elevating resident experience and expertise from our most climate vulnerable neighborhoods into government plans. Next slide. Outcomes from the groups include resident-driven climate impact maps and resilience plans. Here's an example of a climate resilience plan where residents marked which solutions they want implemented and where they want them. Shout out to Sarah Morgan at Groundwork for her awesome designs here. Resident advisors considered both social and climate needs when identifying these implementation strategies. For example, where can we both improve bus stops and incorporate cooling stations there? Next slide. Happy to report we led 2 groups this year in Lower Price Hill and Bond Hill and Roselawn. And I want to shout out to our Bond Hill Roselawn resident advisors in particular, because we just wrapped up last week. Some of them are on the line today, and I just want to say your hard work is really what made this happen. Thank you to our partners as well, of course. Next slide. Green Umbrella also piloted a local candidate engagement model this year with the Cincinnati election. In April, we hosted a Green Cincinnati Plan educational session, which dozens of candidates attended. We partnered with the Ohio Environmental Council Action Fund, who provided policy experts to engage directly with candidates and help them take first steps in designing a climate platform. Finally, we hosted a public forum in October for candidates to present their platforms. Both mayoral candidates and 18 council candidates attended. Next slide. And to begin building capacity, we hosted several events that reached nearly 30 jurisdictions and over 100 unique government staffers. I also wanted to highlight some individual governments. Green Umbrella supported Colerain Township's formation of a cross-sector green group, which in a short 6 months has already launched an Adopt the Block Waste program and a street tree initiative. We worked with Hamilton County Public Health to better incorporate climate and emergency preparedness into their We Thrive program. And the Village of Silverton led a Solarize initiative this year and has committed 10% of their 2022 capital plan to sustainable action. Next slide. So 2021 was about building a movement, and 2022 is going to be a year of action with local to national partners. Next year, we'll launch the Regional Climate Collaborative at the Midwest Regional Sustainability Summit. We plan to extend the Climate Safe Partnership to additional Cincinnati neighborhoods and regional jurisdictions. We will host candidate engagement opportunities for key regional elections and work to expand the Environmental Resilience Institute's Indiana Resilience Cohort, a local government fellowship program, into Kentucky and Ohio. We are excited to work with all of our members and make our region more sustainable, equitable, and resilient. I would love to hear from you and learn how you can connect to this work, so please email me, follow me on Twitter, and check out our website to connect and engage. I'll now pass it to Chris Smyth, the director of the Common Orchard Project.
Thank you so much, Savannah. Yeah, like Savannah said, my name is Chris Smyth. the director of the Common Orchard Project, and it's so good to be here with you all. So we see that food connects people, and the Common Orchard Project builds community-based fruit tree orchards and trains neighbors in their care. We're helping to transition more of our collectively held land and shared spaces to productive perennial places where people can find fresh fruit growing on their block. We started this work in 2017, and growth for the Orchard Project has really exploded since partnering with Green Umbrella and our national partner Giving Grove this past year. So I'd like to share a little bit about what we've done this past year since launching this project full-time. Since fall of last year, we've put in 14 orchards, and I might just like brush over that point, but it's significant. Working with all the communities that we work with in Price Hill, Mount Auburn, Walnut Hills, North Fairmount, Mount Healthy, Norwood, I could just keep going on in all these places. This is the bulk of our work, starting new orchards, but we also focus on training people in their care. The Orchard Steward Training Program launched this past fall with 25 people signed up so far. So these are volunteers that we train over a series of 9 sessions to take care of fruit trees in their community, teaching them all they need to know to grow healthy and productive trees. Finally, this year, we established our base hub in Camp Washington with a demonstration orchard, hoop house in production, nursery, and large-scale composting program that's coming next year. This will be our home base for training all the orchard stewards and hub for distributing plant extracts, amendments to maximize health and energy in trees that grow fruit all over Cincinnati. As we grow out our network in Cincinnati, we are also helping other cities get established or explore this possibility. Next slide, please. So we had the opportunity to connect with partners up in Cleveland. We put 2 orchards in last fall and then kept following up with them. And there are so many opportunities in Cleveland. The one neighborhood we're working in has 800 vacant lots alone. The hope is to get them firmly established and connected with Giving Grove, our national partner, and off to the races. Next slide. Speaking of Giving Grove, there's a network of 9 different cities, not just us, who are engaged in this kind of work. Giving Grove started in Kansas City, and across all these cities, there's approximately some 250 community-based orchards through the network. We're sharing resources, best practices across network. And just a little point, it started in Kansas City in 2013, and this past fall, we put 10 orchards in. And apart from Kansas City, no other city has done that. So Cincinnati is really exploding with growth. Next slide. So yeah, next year, we're looking forward and hoping to put in at least 15 new community orchards. It's mostly dependent on people contacting us and connecting with people. We know that at least 5 of these are going to be at schools, and we're also exploring these in new communities, talking with folks in Claremont County, Dayton, Ohio, all over Northern Kentucky, Batesville, Indiana. The stewards that we're training are also caring for existing fruit trees that have already been planted by dozens of other partners in the city. We'll also invite 2 new staff to work with us, and that will be started early in the year. But really what it all comes down to, though most of these orchards are quite young, they represent the capacity to grow over 80,000 servings of fresh fruit in neighborhoods every year. And we're really excited to see those orchards mature. These sites help bring people together to grow food. Orchards connect people. And we're so happy to continue growing a sense of abundance and connection to nature right where people live. If you'd like to get more involved, just check out commonorchard.com for more info, or feel free to email me. Next up is Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Chris. Boy, it is so exciting to be part of the Green Umbrella team. Hello, everyone. Thank you for learning a little bit more and spending your time to learn a little bit more about all of the work that we're doing. I'm Elizabeth Rojas, and I'm the Cincinnati 2030 District Director. The Cincinnati 2030 District is part of a national organization of 23 other districts that work to reduce the carbon emissions from the largest building stock, our cities. As many of you know, our goals are to reduce energy, water, and transportation emissions 50% by 2030. And this year, we have pioneered the very first occupant health pillar. Next slide, please. This pillar helps our members focus on the priorities for their organization in implementing key strategies that benefit the occupants of their buildings and the community. This pillar was created in collaboration with the International Well Building Institute and uses our own community health needs assessment, which means that it's specific to the greatest health concerns here in this region. Next slide, please. We're proud of the progress that our 44 building members are making towards their goals. Many of these committed members have already integrated measures to reduce energy and water and offset their energy consumption with renewables, as well as integrating healthy building strategies and commuter support. If you work with any of these organizations, please reach out to them and see what you can do to support their work. We are also excited that we have just released the 2020 progress report. This report shows how we're doing as a district. Drum roll, please. Next slide. We saw a 30% reduction in energy costs in energy usage in 2020, the first year of the pandemic and our second year of reporting, which means that our building members are ahead of schedule to reach their goals. If you see that orange, the orange dot there, the orange bar, look at that compared to where it needed to be for 2020. So you can see how far ahead we already are. Now, it was a crazy year, so we give it that, and we'll see what happens next year, but we are already impressed with some of the work that's coming out of our members. Next slide, please. In addition to our energy and occupant health progress, this past fall, we launched the first commuter survey. This had thousands of responses from our member building occupants. The survey helps us establish the emissions per commuter and helps our district-wide report. It also helps building owners and managers understand their commuting needs for their organizations. In 2022, we can't wait to roll up our sleeves with the building members and start to work on strategies to help them reduce their emissions per commuter and see how we're doing against the 2015 baseline. Next slide. And one last announcement, we are proud to offer a building walkthrough program that is free to all district members. This program was created in collaboration with our partner engineers and assesses the energy and water savings potential of our member buildings. Our professional partners have already assessed nearly 100,000 square feet to date. Next slide. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our countless volunteers, sponsors, members, professional and community partners, and Green Umbrella staff. Without all of you, we would not have been able to accomplish so much in 2021. So thank you all. And we look forward to working with all of you in 2022 to achieve even more. In case you missed it, check out the full progress report available online, along with all the other amazing information that you can find in our district library. To all of the members and partners on the line, please be on the lookout for an invite to our New Year kickoff in late January. This will be in person at Union Hall, and we hope to see you there. I'll kick it over to Wade Johnston and Tri-State Trails.
Happy holidays, everybody. I'm Wade Johnston. I'm the director of Tri-State Trails. Thanks to the work of so many partners, 2021 has been a tremendous year for trail development in the Tri-State. We have seen just over 20 miles of trails and bikeways built in our region. And between OKI and ODNR, $20 million has been awarded to fund 14 new miles of trails in future years. All corners of our region are feeling the momentum, including Oxford, Hamilton, Metamora, Covington, Lebanon, Mason, Woodlawn, Boone County, Cincinnati, and Newport, where the Purple People Bridge was recently reopened, adorned with holiday lights just in time to be festive. Next slide, please. One of the most noteworthy gaps that has been closed is on the Great Miami River Trail between Middletown and Franklin. This project has been in the making for more than 5 years, and now you can travel for over 65 miles from Middletown through Dayton to Piqua, Ohio. And it's only going to get better. This year, Tri-State Trails developed an action plan to complete the remaining gaps in the Great Miami River Trail in Butler County, so you can one day ride 83 miles from Fairfield to Piqua. Next slide. In Cincinnati, 2021 has been an astounding success for advancing our vision for the Crown 34-mile urban trail loop. Last year, we set out to raise $8 million for our Crown Capital campaign, and it's looking likely that we will reach our goal, thanks to the incredible generosity of our community. What's best is that we're seeing the results in real time. Next slide, please. Tomorrow, local leaders will cut the ribbon on Wasson Way Phase 5, which runs through the treetops of Alt Park over an old rail trestle. This project will connect to the Murray Path and link roughly 6 miles of trail from Xavier University to downtown Marymount. This was a huge advocacy win for Tri-State Trails dating back to 2015. Ground has been broken or ribbons have been cut this year on several new segments in the network, including, next slide, the Ohio River Trail, which was recently extended from Lunken Airport to Coney Island. Now you can ride your bike 22 miles from Smale Riverfront Park to New Richmond in a trail or a bike lane. A little further upstream, Great Parks of Hamilton County has started construction on the Beachmont Bridge, which will forge a key connection between the Little Miami Scenic Trail and the Ohio River Trail. We were proud to endorse Great Parks levy earlier this year, and we're excited for more trails in store thanks to the voters approving this ballot measure. In Marymount, the Murray Path was extended to Plainville Road. In the coming years, we hope to extend this route to the Little Miami Scenic Trail at Newtown Road. Momentum is starting to build on the west side of the Crown planned loop. The first segments of the Ohio River Trail West have been built. Lick Run Greenway opened this year, and we are in the planning stages for the Mill Creek Greenway Trail with Mill Creek Alliance. Next slide. We're just getting started. And we're just getting started. We've cultivated interest with the newly elected mayor and members of council to not only continue this work, but to expedite it so that we can realize our vision to be a world-class biking city and active living city. Many of Cincinnati's newly elected leaders have already been on bike rides with us. Next slide. As we look toward the future, we hope to make a bigger impact with road calming projects that improve pedestrian safety as well as protected facilities for bikes. The Clifton Avenue Protected Bike Lane project is a great example of how we were able to affordably get infrastructure on the ground today as we get in line for larger pots of funding that will allow us to make transformative investments like Crown. Next slide. But we will always remind you that even though we have so much more to do to become the best biking city in the Midwest, you can still comfortably ride your bike in this town today, which is why we published and distributed over 7,000 copies of our low stress bike map earlier this year. Next slide. It's thanks to our donors and our supporters that we've made this year our best year yet. So if you feel so inclined, you can come celebrate with us on Saturday for our annual Bicycle Santa ride. Cheers for trails. Next up is Maddie Chera.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maddie Chera. I joined the Food Policy Council team in May of this year to work with our director, Michaela, as the food systems analyst. And since then, I've been so excited to serve in a role that's focused on advancing a healthy, equitable, and sustainable food system. And that really is what we do. It's now reflected in the updated wording of our vision and mission too, which you can see here. It's not at all a change in course, but it is a more focused framing, which was recently approved by our voting members. And a quick shout out and thanks to all our members and partners, especially those here today. The Food Policy Council envisions a food secure community, and we're advancing toward this vision through collaboration and advocacy in 3 key areas. Next slide, please. One of those areas is farm to institution. We're making it easier for institutions like schools and hospitals to buy local food. We're also educating them on why it's so important for them and for our environment and our economy to buy local. One way that we're sharing those messages is by telling the stories of regional producers, like through the farmer trading cards and posters that you can see in this slide. We distributed the cards, posters, and Harvest of the Month kits to area school districts that serve local food in their cafeterias. These Feed Our Future swag packs are meant to inform kids, parents, and food service professionals about local food and to get them excited about eating locally, seasonally, and healthfully. Next slide, please. We're creating incentives for people to shop directly from the farmers too, like at farmers markets and through community supported agriculture or CSAs. We are partnering with other organizations to make it as easy as possible for regular people, busy people, maybe on a budget, to go find and support local farmers. These programs are a win all around. People eat healthier and the producers make more profitable and reliable sales without having to figure out everything on their own. Next slide, please. Finally, we're working with community-led initiatives and with partners in nutrition access, education, and public health to center community voice in our efforts to address food insecurity. Together, we are implementing quality improvement work at food access points like pantries and supporting buying clubs emerging at the neighborhood level. This work is aimed at increasing healthy food access and consumption throughout the community. One of this year's big success stories in our region was the recent opening of the new Miser's Fresh Grocery and Deli in Lower Price Hill. This photo on the slide shows a sneak peek in case you haven't been there to check it out yet, but I would recommend going to check it out. And two members of our community advisory board, Reba Hennessy and Marcia Davis, were part of the group of neighbors who made that new store happen. You can read more about it and many of our other partnerships, activities, and news on our blog. Next slide, please. And speaking of, check out our new website at cincinnatiregionalfood.org to learn more about how you can join us in building a food secure community. The Get Involved page has different ways to connect with us and contribute, and you can even buy our new coffee in partnership with La Terza. It supports the Food Policy Council and it makes a great gift, perfect timing for the holidays. You can also reach out and reach me anytime through email at maddie@greenumbrella.org or get in touch with Michaela directly too at michaela@greenumbrella.org. Thank you so much. And now I'll turn it over to Cynthia.
Well, hello, I'm Cynthia Walters and I'm the new Green Schoolyards Coordinator for CPS Outside. Prior to coming on board, I was a public school teacher for over 23 years, and I have been working on outdoor learning programs with school districts for the past 15. As an educator, I have witnessed firsthand how children benefit by exploring the natural world, being stewards of their environment, and even growing their own food. CPS Outside is a collaboration between partner organization and school staff members whose mission is to improve the health and wellness of children, neighborhoods, and preserving the natural resources within communities. As a team, we connect partner organizations to schools and community learning centers to provide experiential learning during the school day, after school, break days, and throughout the summer. We work to improve access to parks and promote the development of green spaces. The team is focused on climate resilient communities by incorporating stormwater infrastructures and tree canopies in areas where they are needed most. Outcomes include strengthening the public school system by increasing food security, building social emotional skills, and improving academic performance. We are working together to realize the vision to ensure all CPS students have equitable opportunities for outdoor experiences and environmental education. Within the last year, CPS Outside has identified schools and neighborhoods who lack green space and who need educational support from partners. In 2022 and beyond, we are moving forward to engage community members and connect partners to implement green schoolyards across the district. Next slide, please. Through collaboration with partners, CPS Outside teams have conducted over 20 site assessments to identify the particular needs of schools to allow more students to connect with nature. We have initiated an action plan to achieve these goals. For goal number 1, plans and budget proposals are underway for these schools. We will begin work on at least half of the 20 campuses in 2022. Regarding goal number 2, We are set on providing teacher training and coordinating the integration of environmental education into the district's curriculum. And last, we will ensure all identified schools have at least one organization who will support educators with their outdoor learning needs. Next 2 slides. I personally would like to show my gratitude to the organizations and partners who have dedicated their time conducting these site assessments and for their involvement in the many working groups that make CPS Outside possible. A special thank you to the design engineers who participated in these site assessments at any given time to provide their expertise. Next slide. As a member, you might be wondering how to get involved and make a difference in the lives of school children and address environmental issues affecting Cincinnati neighborhoods. If you are a parent or a local community member, ask the school in your neighborhood what they are doing to get students engaged in outdoor activities and how you can help. Consider adding your support by participating in the work to install outdoor learning spaces, and engage your company or the corporation you work for by dedicating community volunteer days to providing spaces where children can thrive. I am enthusiastic to hear from you, to hear how I can best meet the needs of your children and learn more about the community where you live. Being a part of many outdoor learning installations, I'm going to borrow Elizabeth's phrase, roll up my sleeves and get started. Thank you for your involvement, and I look forward to seeing you in person soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Cynthia. I think we got all of our programs in, and I am just so proud of this team. Green Umbrella has an amazing staff, and as you can tell, there is so much work going on and there's so much to do. But really, at the end of the day, we are doing work that is all collaborative, and so none of it would be possible without all of you and the organizations that you represent. So thank you for also being a part of the Green Umbrella team as we work towards these goals. I also want to spend a few minutes thanking the funders who help make this work possible as well. We are so grateful for their support and do not do enough to acknowledge them. So I just wanted to make sure that I took a moment to say thank you. And I'm going to name them because I want you to hear them all. The DeVue Good Foundation, the Energy Foundation, the Carol Ann and Ralph V. Hale Jr. Foundation, Giving Grove, the Kroger Company Zero Hunger, Zero Waste Foundation, the American Public Health Association through the Healthy Cities and Counties Challenge, the Greater Cincinnati Foundation, Robert Keith and Kathy Thornton, the National League of Cities through the Cities Connecting Children and Nature Green Schoolyards Technical Assistance Cohort, the Murray and Agnes Season Good Government Foundation, Meshua Farm Foundation, Nellie Lehman Taft Foundation, Sisters of Charity of Cincinnati, the Dorothy Francis Charitable Foundation, Duke Energy Foundation, Fifth Third Bank, Josephine S. Russell Charitable Trust, William P. Anderson Foundation, and some government agencies like the Ohio EPA, the Ohio Department of Agriculture, and the USDA. Now, this doesn't include everything like our sponsorships and some other great contract work that we do with partners, but we are so thankful from the support from so many organizations. And as you can imagine, as a nonprofit organization, we are always looking to grow and really diversify our funding support. We are heavily grant funded as an organization and are really looking to diversify that. So we thank you for being a member of Green Umbrella and contributing financially in that way. I would ask you to also consider at the end of this year becoming an additional investor in Green Umbrella. Take a minute to think about the organizations that you give to annually or even sporadically and compare your level of support to Green Umbrella. Think about adding us in to that list in an amount that is meaningful to you. If you're an individual, well, we all are, but as an individual, you could think about setting up a monthly recurring donation on our website, sending in an end of the year check, making a contribution from your planned giving fund, or donating appreciated stock. If you also represent an organization, we would love for you to join us as a sponsor for one of our 2022 events. There's over a dozen of them, and Charlie can connect you to resources there. Or think about even sponsoring one of our programs for recognition benefits that you care about that are connected to your work that last all year long. Your financial support allows us to build our capacity to flexibly respond to the greatest needs in our community as they emerge. We want to be prepared to lead around climate, sustainability, and resilience in the buildup to 2030, and we need your support to keep up the pace. Well, we always like to leave our meetings with some action items lined up, so I want to recap a few for you. First of all, please, if you have not already, reach out to our staff to figure out how you can plug into the work that they're facilitating or get them connected with yours. We would love for you to report back to your organization on what's happening at Green Umbrella and possible connections to the work that not just you, but your colleagues are doing across the region. Make a contribution to keep us growing. And finally, please join us at next year's Midwest Regional Sustainability Summit, which is June 16th. The theme is Emergent Strategies for an Equitable Climate Prepared Region. We've got an awesome keynote that we're not quite ready to announce yet, but that will be coming soon. And we are currently accepting proposals for breakout sessions, field trips, award nominations, and lots of other cool stuff. So please don't just put it on your calendar to come, but think about how you can be involved as a speaker, a field trip organizer, or even nominate a colleague for one of our awards. We are going to close out our time together in a way that does require an additional action item from you, which is to log into this cool tool called Spatial Chat. The link is in our chat right here, but it's this really neat interactive networking tool where you can move yourself around and join different conversations. You'll see when you get in there, there's different areas set up so you can kind of go find people to talk to, organized in different spaces and around different themes. Thank you so much to our intern, Claire, for setting that up. And when you're in there, you'll be able to hear the people that are near you. So if you're not near anybody, go move your little icon over to where other people are, and then you'll be able to talk to them. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining us for the Green Umbrella annual meeting. Please join us in Spatial Chat for some hangout and networking time. Thank you.